Welcome to Let's Be Honest. I'm Liana Ross, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm the assistant director of Gooding Wellness Group, and I'm on a mission to answer your real and honest questions, unfiltered, while also giving you the real and honest opinions of a mental health clinician on pop culture and trending topics. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Let's Be Honest podcast. Today is a pop culture episode. Oh, and reminder, I'm Liana and I'm your host. I'm a licensed therapist as well. This episode is sponsored by Mountainside Treatment Center, which is an inpatient rehab located in Canaan, Connecticut, with outpatient facilities located in Wilton, Connecticut, across New York and Huntington, Chelsea, Chappaqua, Bergen County, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. They offer individual family therapy, group therapy to individuals and families struggling with alcohol and drug use. If you're interested in their services, check them out on mountainside.com. Going back to the pop culture, what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about infidelity because I feel like that's been a hot topic. And the last time I've discussed this topic in the past, a lot of people enjoyed it because I think it's very relatable. And I think there's a lot of questions around like, well, what do you do if you get cheated on or if you cheat, right? Like, why do we do these things? How do you move on? How do you build trust? And we see a lot of people in the media either being cheated on or doing the cheating. I mean, I think within the last year, we've seen most recently Adam Levine's scandal through Instagram, DMing a bunch of girls, even though he's married and expecting another baby with his wife. So that was a whole mess. And then we have the none other Tristan Thompson, who has been a serial cheater to Khloe Kardashian. And thankfully, they're no longer together right now. Very, very happy about that. And then we also have Lala Kent from Vanderpump Rules. Last year, her fiance Randall cheated on her too. I mean, what is going on? I think we need to talk about this because I know that if they're experiencing it, a lot of us are also. I think we're just not talking about it. So, I mean, when we think about famous people, these celebrities, they have a lot of focus on them. They have cameras around them, paparazzi, they have temptations, right? Like I can't even imagine what that could be like. And then the people who are cheated on, I mean, there's so much pressure I could imagine about like what you do about it. And so I kind of wanted to have this discussion around infidelity and the different types of cheating, because I do believe that we all have different parameters of what we believe is cheating, where some people might believe, well, if you're physical with the person, that's cheating, but not if you're only talking to them. And then other people will say, nope, if you're talking to the person, that is cheating. And then other people will say, if you are Snapchatting another person, that is cheating. So let's just break down all the different types of infidelity. And I want to hit you with a really crazy fact first, that on estimate, there are actually in relationships, infidelity happens in 1/4 to 1/3 of committed relationships, which is a lot. So I want to kind of go down all the different types of infidelity. And if you're interested in reading more about this, our licensed marriage and family therapist, Lisa Current, wrote a really great blog about this topic on goodingwellness.com. So you can head over there and kind of read along with me. So the first type is those who are avoiding conflict or the intimacy involved in discussing what they want sexually. So this means withholding information or withholding the way you're feeling, almost like lying by omission, right? It's that whole idea of not being open with your partner, whether it be emotionally, what you want physically. And this could be seen in a lot of different ways. It could be like, well, then what does that relationship look like? I mean, that doesn't seem like such a healthy relationship if we're withholding the way we feel. And then we have the types who have that one-time affair, and we hear this all the time. Oh, well, I was so drunk. I was so high. I was so messed up. I don't even remember it, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but does that really make a difference if they're under the influence or not? Some people might actually believe it does. So we have those one time flings. I think whether we can say if they're under the influence or not. And then we have another very interesting one where I always see this a lot with people who have narcissistic tendencies or narcissistic personality disorder, and other personality disorders where they really lack empathy. And therefore, if let's say they cheat on their partner or even there's some like emotional abuse or whatever it might be, it's like they don't understand that that's not okay. So, I mean, that's a situation where the relationship as a whole, again, might not be the most healthy and we are not able to change that person. So, they really don't care how their behavior impacts someone else. I mean, if you want to be honest, or if I want to be honest, Tristan Thompson, I mean, how many times is this guy going to do it, right? Like, I mean, come on. Not diagnosing anyone. But so that's another one. Another type of infidelity is what they call, quote, philanderers. And these people feel entitled or driven to score, where it's almost like a game to them. I mean, it's pretty bad, pretty hurtful, right? Like imagine if your hurt was almost like a game to someone else. But you can imagine there's definitely a lot going on for that person. That's probably leading to them to kind of have this mindset around infidelity and hurting someone else. The next one I want to go into is sexual addiction, right? Like just like any other addiction, sexual addiction is very valid. There are many people who struggle with this. And I always say, like with any addiction, with any mental health issue, please see a professional because it's something like this, can't do it alone. And yeah, well, this person might kind of cope with their sex addiction by maybe excessively watching porn or going to strip clubs or, I can go on and on. I don't want to, but so that's where that will be entailed. Then this is very interesting, which I've heard a lot of. There are those who want payback for something they perceive their partner has done to them, where it's almost like, okay, one person cheats and then the other person cheats. And then, well, the first person wants to get back at that person and they just keep cheating at one or the other. And a lot of it is done out of spite. And at that point, I mean, what type of relationship is that? If we're just doing things out of spite, whether the other person did something to us or not. The next type of cheater is that one who lives a parallel life. Now, I see this with Lala Kent and Randall, her ex Randall, where she kind of opened up about him going out a lot and being out of country, out of state. And she kind of hinted at like maybe he was doing this for a long time, where he was meeting up with women, living this other life. And I think that's really easy to do, especially if you're famous, because you go out of town all the time for work, staying wherever. And it's kind of easier, I could imagine, living that double life when you're in the spotlight and have this fame, lifestyle fame. But it probably most definitely happens to people who aren't celebrities too, right? Like what's coming to my mind is those who are on social media and let's say talking to other individuals that aren't their partner, maybe in a sexual way or an emotional way, and kind of having this other relationship in addition to their partner. So I feel like there's a lot of different ways that you could live a parallel life. Another one where I'm going to play a picture for you. The next type of cheating is, let's say one partner is not happy in the relationship, right? They need to escape. Well, how do they escape? An unhealthy relationship? They might get their needs met in other ways with another person. And I almost wonder if, like, now I'm thinking about Adam Levine, right? Like, he's escaping his life at home by chatting with these other girls online. I don't know. But just like anything else that's used as an escape, whether it be substances, whether it be shopping or food, right? Like This is an escape from something that we may not want to look at right in front of us. And then on that same spectrum, the person who wants to end the relationship and maybe doesn't know how. Oof, it's like, I would just rather you tell me. Please just tell me you want to end the relationship without having to go cheat on me, right? Like, it's a hard thing to do to end a relationship. Yes, it is. But I think it's even harder to cheat and then not know how you're going to relay that information to your partner or even hide that. Like, I just think it's more work. And then let's like go into this other spectrum, right? I can go on and on about this. Online affairs. And this can take many shapes and sizes with people meeting each other online, like videos, texts, FaceTime, chats, phone calls, Snapchat. The convenience is driving an increase in these types of affairs because you really don't have to leave home to engage in the affair anymore. I mean, the emotional part, yes, but really when it comes to physical, you can also be physical with someone, like whether it be sexting or whatever it might be. Like, you can really develop this relationship. We see it in a lot of different areas, like that show Catfish. People, I mean, that doesn't involve infidelity, but people really develop these relationships with people online if they haven't even met before. So I feel like there's so many things out there now online where infidelity can happen very, very common. It's very, very common. So those are all the different types of infidelity. I wonder what you're thinking right now. Are you shocked that there's so many different types? Or are you kind of like, oh, that makes sense because you kind of heard of these various types of infidelity, but didn't really think that they had specificity under the umbrella of infidelity? Now the question goes into, when do you take your partner back and when do you call it quits? And I wish Khloe Kardashian was here for this conversation.
Hi, my name is Gordon Gooding. I'm the founder and director of the Gooding Wellness Group here in Cold Spring Harbor, New York. We are a group of mental health providers that offer individual and family counseling here on Long Island. We believe the first step for caring for your mental health is to talk and to learn about it, which is what this podcast does such a great job of. If it has a name, someone else has been through it, and so can you. If you ever need a professional that cares about what you are facing, please feel free to reach out to us. Our counseling services are available throughout New York State through our teletherapy service, and we also offer in-person sessions in our beautiful offices here on Long Island, New York. You can reach us at goodingwellness.com or by calling 631-351-2940. Remember, there's nothing that you need to face alone. Until then, keep listening, be deliberate with your mental health, and keep it honest.
This episode is sponsored by Mountainside Treatment Center. Mountainside Treatment Center is a nationally acclaimed behavioral health work specializing in individualized alcohol and drug rehabilitation programs and services. Our main campus, located in Connecticut, offers private detox, residential, extended care, and intensive outpatient services. Mountainside is also close to home with locations in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, in addition to virtual services throughout the state of Massachusetts. We also have a hub for recovery in Chelsea, Manhattan, offering recovery coaching, family recovery coaching, sober events, and support groups. Check us out at mountainside.com.
So here are some signs that maybe we should think about calling it quits. Is your partner refusing to give up his relationship or even limit his relationship, right? Because I'm thinking if, let's say, they hooked up with a coworker. They work there, right? They work with the person. Are they willing to give up that communication with that person or not? If this seems to be something fundamental to your partner, he or she seems to need the constant affirmation provided by scoring with others. And maybe this is not the first time. Like, if they're being really having a hard time with stopping this relationship, whether it's now cordial or not, maybe that's something to look at. This is a big one. If they are unapologetic or minimize the affair at any point, at any point, even if it's years down the road. If they're unapologetic or they minimize it, that is a big clue. And in addition, are they blaming it on you, right? Do they say, well, you didn't show me enough emotional connection. You didn't, I don't know, clean out the sink, right? Like, hey, we can hold ourselves accountable for maybe things we could have worked on, but so can our partner. We can all hold ourselves accountable. No one's blaming one another, but let's hold ourselves accountable. And we need to be mindful of this pattern of behavior and remind yourself, what do you deserve? I always tell people you don't have to deal with that, right? And if you do choose to move on and not want to kind of work through all the stuff and the past infidelity, that's okay. You do not have to, right? There's no rule book at all. It's a personal decision to want to say, you know what, I'm going to try to rebuild my trust in this person and the relationship. It's such an individual situation or couple individual situation. Now let's go the other end of the spectrum. Let's say we have a couple who wants to rebuild their trust. Can it be done? Absolutely. Absolutely. If both people commit to honesty and rebuilding, and that includes ending that external relationship, they can totally rebuild their dynamic with their partner. As the unfaithful partner, this person needs to be patient, right? Because a couple months down the line, your partner might still be, getting mad at you for cheating, but you have to be patient with the process. And with that, you might be offering sincere apologies many, many times. This is a healing process. Things don't go away at a drop of a hat. And I always tell people that you're going to have some days where they're really great and you guys are getting along fantastic and it almost feels like nothing ever happened. And then there are going to be days where the partner who got hurt might not even want to look at you. And that's okay, because we have to feel both feelings to move through this experience and this healing journey. And again, I want to emphasize the partner has to close the door on the other relationship. Whatever that might look like. That might look like even leaving a job, I don't know, or not talking to that person anymore, maybe deleting them on social media, whatever the couple agrees upon. With that, you close one door, you open another. So the person who did cheat has to open the window to their partner, disclose what is being asked of your partner, and be an open book. If your partner asks you, well, where were you tonight? Or who are you just texting? If we want to rebuild the trust, we have to be an open book. Give them access to your calendars, credit card records, texts, etc. And I would say work this out in couples therapy. I always suggest, I think this is better done in couples therapy, because just to have that mediator, just to have that unbiased person where they treat your relationship as the client, not one or the other. The relationship as is a client. I heavily suggest that. And I also want to stress the importance that the old relationship that you had prior to the infidelity is over. You're creating a whole new relationship post infidelity into this new healing journey with now working on the trust. So what does that mean? That means new date night spots. That means new activities that you guys do. That might mean maybe you guys are doing something different for the holidays, right? You are creating a whole new chapter of your relationship. And again, I want to remind you guys, if you want to read more about this, we have a great blog on our website written by Lisa Curran, our licensed marriage and family therapist. And she actually works a lot with couples who are recovering from infidelity. And I want to remind you that you don't have to go through this alone. I wish that Khloe went to go see someone, and maybe she did, but I want to say she didn't. But you don't have to go through this process alone. And lucky for you, if you're looking to work on your relationship, I work with relationships, but we also have 2 LMFTs, licensed marriage and family therapists at Gooding Wellness. We have Lisa and we have another Monica who's fantastic. So we do a lot of relationship work at Gooding Wellness. Even if you want to do some preventative work, right? Hey, can we learn something new about our relationship? Can we improve communication? I think we need to reduce the stigma around couples counseling and couples therapy and just make it more normal like we do or we have been individual therapy. I hope you guys like that. I want to kind of create this space of the idea that infidelity is not black and white. You know, I think that a lot of times we have the idea of, oh, well, they cheat, I'm donezo. And maybe that's the case for a lot of people, but I want to kind of show the gray to increase the understanding and the empathy for what this process looks like. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Let's Be Honest. Follow the podcast and submit your question to be answered on the pod at Let's Be Honest Pod on Instagram. If you're liking the podcast, remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Head to the show notes for all the links and information for what we discussed today. See you next time.